back by popular demand here for season 2 is my grandma, Jackie Bellitti. Got much love on her episode last season, so this time we thought we'd share a little bit more of her and have an intro at the beginning of most of our episodes this season for season 2 on Behind the Counter. And she is very excited to talk about the birds and the bees, right, Grandma?
Yes, that's life.
That's
the birds
life.
and the bees.
The birds and the bees.
Yep, that's life.
Sometimes I've heard you describe my dad as a rascal. Did you ever talk to him about the birds and the bees?
No, see, in my lifetime, we didn't do things. We didn't talk about sex. First of all, I didn't have. My mother and father never told me about sex. But I just imagine things. How did children come? Like my mother would say.
Storks?
My mother would say it comes from a stork. It comes from a fish or a plane. I don't know where it comes from, but.
Amazon these days.
It kept me thinking about all my teenage and early days, is because I was the only child home, and I'd say, Mom, I'd like to have a sister or brother.
Do what you gotta do.
And she said, no, it doesn't. We're not ready for that yet. No, we know. And but I got one sister after 23 years. and finally waited so long.
Yeah.
We went to Europe. We went to Europe on a vacation for us to see family. And somehow my mother came back and she was pregnant. So you never know.
A little European wine, a little dancing.
Yeah, whatever.
A little salsa.
Yeah, that's right. Relatives, you forget. I don't know. It's just so relaxed. If we relaxed for a few months, we went for 4 months.
Oh, wow.
We went for 4 months. Oh, it was unbelievable.
Oh my God, we're back again. A little Backstreet Boys reference there. But welcome back to Behind the Counter. We are here on season 2.
Yep.
And we've got a lot of stuff we're going to cover this time. We're going to have a bunch of other guests on this season as well.
Yeah.
And this topic is going to be an interesting one.
Absolutely.
One that is often not discussed, to
Right.
be honest, or done so in whispered voices or awkwardly. One that is often a hot topic in healthcare as well for a lot of different reasons. And that would be sex, specifically. Sex and hormones. And it's going to be a good discussion, I think.
Yeah. Generally, when I get a question about blood pressure medications, cholesterol medications, usually everybody's, okay, what is medication about? Does this work well? All that stuff. But then, when it comes to some of the sensitive topic, I get pulled to the side.
Right.
There's no problem with that, But I'm actually pretty glad the fact that they're asking the question still.
Sure.
And what I'm afraid of is that some people, actually most of customers really, they're a little afraid or embarrassed to talk about it. So their primary goal is to come in and get out as soon as possible,
Right.
So we're trying to bring up the surface a little bit so that everyone should really discuss about possible medication, supplements, or just problems in general that you might be feeling or having,
Right. And I think that there's a lot of different reasons why those problems go on, right? Like we're talking about libido, we're talking about potency, we're talking about pleasure, and all of those kinds of things that associate with hormones and sex, right? But flip side, going deeper than that, your mood and other things that, the truth is there's so many factors, right? Your genes, your corduroys, I'm kidding. That's where you laugh. Your environment, your lifestyle, right? Like the food you're eating, if you undereat or overeat, that can make an impact. If you under-exercise or don't do the appropriate types of exercise, or on the flip side, overtrain and over-exercise, all of that can impact your hormones, your libido, and all of this kind of stuff at any phase of your life. And then, of course, obviously, there's the natural aspect of aging, right? Which none of us want to face, but it's a reality of our time here.
Yeah,
on Earth.
but unless you actually speak to a professional, you don't want to just jump to that conclusion.
Right.
And that's what hopefully we can do here and open up a conversation for people to ask us more questions.
Exactly, and getting from what I was talking about off your previous point too, you get pulled to the side, right?
Yep.
But sometimes you're concerned when, hey, I haven't been getting those questions, right? Like you said, it's a good thing that I am getting those questions, but think about all the times you're not getting those questions, right? Where do people turn? Well, a lot of times people go to the internet or someone who, maybe they don't have to have a conversation to go online and buy some product and just get it shipped to them, no questions asked, here I go. And there are a lot of safety concerns with that kind of stuff too, right? So truthfully, bringing it up to a qualified professional is really the best answer.
Also really, I would like to let everybody know, especially if you're a teenager or if you're a parent who has teenagers, it's really important that you guys talk about it and ask the questions, because there are times that some guy comes in and he says he's 16 and start asking questions, He seems pretty embarrassed, but I'd rather get those questions than not, because we don't want them to have wrong information,
Sure. And on the flip side too, if you're older as well, it's the same thing, right? It's easy to get embarrassed. Maybe your significant other or your partner, you're trying to hide from one way or the other because you're embarrassed, when really it's something that could be fixed or at least improved.
Absolutely.
If we get to the root cause of what's actually going on, right? It's a complicated thing. And hormonally speaking, hormones are extremely complicated, right, in our bodies, the way they work. Women actually are much more complicated hormonally, system-wise, than men are. Men are very simple, which is probably not news to anyone, right? We're very simple people. But in general, there's so many factors that affect a complex system that it's complex squared. It's complexity on complexity, right?
I would like to say that men are also pretty complicated compared to some of the studies that I've seen. Obviously, a lot of these tests, supplements and medications, and a lot of them are done on rats. Right. At least men are a lot more complicated than rats. I can at least start there.
Depends on who you ask, I guess, right? But I think really what our goal for this season is, and we'll be talking about supplements that are related to libido and sex. We'll be talking about STIs and that kind of stuff too. We'll be talking about birth control, which is kind of a topic that people just forget to think about because it's just so commonplace. Oh, I got to take my pill. I got to take my pill, right? We forget that that's actually, hormones and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Too. We will be talking about a lot of different stuff, and we'll have some other guests too. So we'll have a nurse, we'll have another physician. We'll be talking about hormone replacement therapy a bit, which is a really hot topic when it comes to sexual health and hormones as we're aging and that kind of stuff.
Of course.
But I think the biggest goal that we have is to kind of the whole behind the counter in general, break down those communication barriers and encourage people. This stuff is normal. We all go through this stuff, whether it's related to a certain medication or certain lifestyle things, or just as we get older, whether it's for men or women, it's extremely, extremely common.
Yes.
And people don't think that it's common. So that's part of the issue,
right?
So we are hoping to empower you to use your voice and be an active patient in your own health and take your health into your hands by asking these questions to qualified professionals.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, I guess we ran out of things to say in the first episode, so we may as well end it there. Hope you guys are excited for this season. We are very excited for this season as well. We'll have some cool guests, some cool topics. So look forward to seeing you soon on more episodes of Behind the Counter. See ya. Packed on this. So the reason I'm talking about this kind of stuff at a high level, I guess, is because it's not just one factor, it's not just one thing, and it's very difficult to point your finger at that and say, that is my problem specifically right there, because there's so much at play.